Weber, you're going to meet right now. We try to bring you things in good taste occasionally on the show. Tonight we thought we would bring you something in good smell. Albert Weber works for the Food and Drug Administration in Brooklyn. His official title is Chemist, Analytical Organoleptic Specialist, Seafood. Now, this is true. This is not a put-on or anything like that. Well, his job is to smell fish for the government and say whether it's fit to eat or not. This is not a joke. This is not an actor. This is a gentleman who has this job. We thought it would be fascinating. Would you welcome Mr. Albert Weber? How are you, Mr. Weber?
I'm feeling fine.
Yeah, usually when I would introduce somebody like that, I'm sure the audience would think we're going to come out with a professional actor and make believe it's not a... But this is a real job you have, isn't it?
It's a real job.
Did I pronounce that right?
That's right.
Analytical Organoleptic...
That's right.
Specialist seafood.
That's right. All it means is using your senses to do your analytical work.
Right.
And that includes the nose, the taste, the feel, and the eyes.
Yeah.
And the seafood is mainly the nose.
Yeah. Why does the government need somebody to smell fish?
Well, it's the easiest and quickest way to determine if any seafood, or any food for most cases, is decomposed or if it's not.
Oh, I see.
Chemical means where you do have them are slow and cumbersome and takes time.
So the human...
Nose beats them all.
Yeah. How did you get into this job?
Well, I was working for the Food and Drug as a chemist, and part of the work was to... Sometimes I was called upon to smell the fish. And one day when I was there just a short time, the regular fish smellers were out, and I was pressed into service.
The head smeller was out of business.
Well, he was out of town.
I was out of town.
So I was pressed into it, and I'll never forget it because it was a real stinking sample. Nobody, when I got onto public transportation, nobody would sit next to me. They'd sit down and get up, get home, walk in the house. My wife says, "My God, what were you doing? You stink. Take off your clothes and take a shower." That was my first experience smelling.
I never thought about that. Would be a hazard, wouldn't it? If you've been around fish all day. What do you do? You change now before you go home? I mean.
Well, I either change or I generally get home now before my wife so I can get the stink clothes off.
Yeah. Does this require a certain trained nose? I mean, can anybody learn to do this? Or if anybody wanted to learn to do this?
Anybody with a good sense of smell can do the work, and all they have to do is to be trained to interpret what they smell. Because not all stink odors are decomposition. Because there's plenty of stinks, but it has nothing to do with decomposition.
You have a very involved technical vocabulary in this job. That's still the best word. To say something is odoriferous is ridiculous, isn't it? If something stinks, it stinks.
Well, that's what I say.
Yeah.
I say I smell, but the fish stinks.
That's right. People smell. Well, I guess people could stink, but not as much as a...
Well, I do stink when I get through some days.
All right, we have to take a short break, but we're going to come back and follow up how you do this. And somebody says they've arranged a little demonstration of something. I don't think it's around here yet, is it? Unless the cake is going bad. So we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Weber. Robert Blake will join us shortly, and we have Tom Braden and Kelly Monteith. Right now we're talking with Albert Weber, who is, I guess, fish smeller, to make a short title for the city of Brooklyn, right?
That's good.
Now, let me ask you this. Are there any side effects to this job? I mean, does it dull your senses after a while?
Oh, well, sure, you can't be smelling all day without what I call a nose break. And
without a nose break?
Yes, you just stop smelling whatever you're smelling and get out of the room and either do something else or just go out and get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Because
are there certain foods that you can't eat that would interfere with?
Well, the foods, no, not eating foods, but if someone's working with you, you got to be careful what you have on your line. The cosmetics you can't use aftershave lotion because it won't bother you, but it'll bother the person next to you. I don't like anybody to come in smoking in the room I'm working because that just makes the job that much harder.
Right.
And anyway, smoke annoys me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I've got mine out over here. You got a point there.
But I'm not working.
Yeah. Now, what are you doing out here in Los Angeles? Is this a vacation, or is this official, or did you come out here to smell our city, or?
No, we came out here to make some authentic packs, and the kindness of the Fish King processors, gave us facilities and supplying us with good fresh shrimp, which we are, I say we because here in the audience who are my co-workers, we have Dick Strom from Seattle, who's the West Coast expert. And we have Frank Allhands from Washington, who's also an expert, and then with Ed Losowitz. And we're making these authentic packs to next month to conduct international fish smelling school, shrimp smelling school for exporters from many foreign countries.
Well, how do you graduate? They give you a frozen carp or something?
No, we take the...
Hit you with a carp and that's it, huh?
No, we take the fresh shrimp, and that's classified as Class 1. And by definition, it's a good commercial quality. And then as it starts to decompose, we call it Class 2.
What do you do with that bad stuff?
Well, with the bad stuff, if it's within the tolerances, we pass it. If it's outside the tolerances, if it's an import, it's detained, and the importer can destroy it or ship it back to the country or bring it within the...
that must be wonderful when it gets back to the country if it's already...
Well, it comes in frozen.
Oh, I see.
And see, most of this decomposition takes place between the time catching and freezing. If they mishandle it, don't keep enough ice or refrigeration...
That's when fish generally goes bad, huh?
Yes. So it takes, you can keep a fish just slightly iced for 2 weeks before it starts to decompose, but then it goes very fast.
Now, we have a couple of samples here, and I don't exactly know what they are.
Well,
can you tell us? Of course, our television audience at home won't be able to appreciate this because we don't have...
You folks like wine with your dinner?
no.
No, we have two samples of shrimp here.
Here, this you don't have to worry about this one.
Oh.
This is good, fresh shrimp.
I would have guessed.
It's Class 1.
I would have guessed that this was going bad.
No, not necessarily.
Because it's a different color.
You can't go by color. You have to go by odor. And all you have to do to see if it's good or bad, just break into the flesh, give it a little short sniff, and that's a good shrimp. And that's a good odor. If I eat shrimp, I would eat those. Now this is Class 3.
Class 3.
You see the change in the color. These
You wouldn't even have to come out from Brooklyn to say that was... You could smell that in Brooklyn. Whoa, wow.
Surprisingly, we get samples of shrimp that smells that bad and worse.
Really? You don't have to break one of those, though, to know it.
No, but those you don't have to break.
Now, that's what do you call a Class 3?
That's a Class 3.
What do you do with those? You get the scent, get rid of them?
They go down the sewer.
Phew.
There's no way to use those.
Does your nose get used to smelling something that foul?
That's the kind that makes you sick. And there's... just by smelling at times.
You could smell it. Did you ever get ill on a job? I mean...
I have some allergies from decomposed products, particularly frogs' legs. I also have to take some antihistamines before I smell them. These I can't smell too long before I get headaches.
No, I can back up.
Although
I think that could be...
We also examine decomposed tuna, and in that case, if you have some real bad stuff, my hands break all and rash it, and I get terrific headaches.
Well, that's a tough job, but it's an important job, and one that has to be done,
It's a job that has to be done. It's a job I don't like to do, but how can you if you smell that stink all day?
That's right. Somebody's got to smell those things. And, Albert, I thank you for being here. You're a nice gentleman, and I wish you well. And how many more years are you going to do this?
Well, I'm retired, but they rehired me for 1 year extension.
Don't let them give you a golden carp at the end of it. Albert, thanks for being here.